Sup everyone, it's a couple days from Blade Show and I thought I'd make a video showing off my Balisong case in my collection and everything I'm going to be bringing to Blade Show. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time collecting this, or building this collection up. I'm pretty proud of all the pieces that I have on it and I'd like to show it off. Yeah, this is my Balisong case. This is a BRS vault case. Yeah, beyond that, I don't really have anything special to say about the case, so let's get into the knives. This is, let me put that over here. This is a BRS thin Alt AB. This is my first live blade. I bought it right after I graduated high school and started working in 2022. I bought it after I started working, and I still work at the same grocery store, but the blades that they gave us to like cut boxes and shit with, it was terrible. It's like those razor blades, but like it's in like a small thin casing. Terrible. And I was like, I should get a Balisong to flip and to bring to work to cut boxes. And yeah, I got an AB because I know they're a classic as far as just the flipping hobby, but also because like you can beat the shit out of these and they won't have any problems. And that's held true for the entirety of the time that I have it. I still take it with me to work today and use it to cut boxes among other things, and if I have a moment of downtime, most likely I'm flipping. Yeah, this is a thin, and from what I heard, well, first of all, when I bought it, I didn't know it was a thin. I didn't even know that thins existed in comparison to the thicks. I just bought an AB, but turns out that this is a thin, which apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently was not an intentional thing. Like BRS just kind of, it was a machining error on BRS's part, and it sold for like a few runs or something, or maybe one run, and people liked it a lot, but they never went back to it or something of the sort. I don't really know how it is, but yeah, I bought it. I just kind of got a really lucky pull with this. Flips amazing. I keep it bone dry, as you can hear, just because it doesn't flip as good with like lube and shit in it. This is my perfect Balisong. Like, it does anything you throw at it. It's honestly, I feel like I developed my style on this Balisong, and yeah, I have just a lot of love for this thing. It's seen the concrete like plenty of times. Like I said, I bring it to work with me and I drop it on concrete a lot. I never have any problems with like the tuning on this knife, tolerances, anything. So this is the knife that I would choose out of all of these. Like, if I could only have one knife to keep in my collection, this would be the one. Like, if I couldn't keep any other knives, this would be the one that I keep. I have a lot of like sentimental value attached to it, and it just flips amazingly. So yeah, I actually have had a bit of a experience with handling the thick ABs. I did a trade with Armid back in the day in like 2023. We had traded each other's ABs because he had just got sponsored by BRS and he bought an AB off of them, and it was a thick one, and we traded. I got to flip it for a little bit and I hated it. It was terrible. So I ended up wanting to trade back, and he felt the same. And to this day, we still have our knives, our ABs that we both prefer. I've never flipped an AB that's better than this. Yeah, if you have an AB, don't be afraid to throw it at the concrete. It's kind of made for that. Some of my inspirations for buying this knife: Steven, stillhere.o, Joff. He has a lot of videos of like, what, 2018, 2019 of this. One in particular that like really hooked me and made me want this was, he has a video with Uglier by Suicide Boys, and It's with the AB and it just looks so good. It has such a nice like flow to it, so yeah, that's why I ended up buying it. And really, it's just kind of like a staple. It's been a staple in the community for a long time, especially this variation. So very proud to own it and call it my user, because I mean, this thing, it's held up. I have no problems with it. It's really like my best flipper in my opinion. So yeah, good job, BRS. Good job. Alrighty, next we have the Microtech Tachyon 2. This is a real one. I did have a clone version for a little bit, but I saw this real one up on the market and felt kind of guilty about owning a clone, so I bought this one. And let me just tell you, this thing flips like astronomically better than the clone. It has a nice feel in the hands. Nice and blocky, but it doesn't like obstruct from the flipping. If anything, I feel like it makes you want to do like chaplains and stuff more and like hold on to rollovers. It has that characteristic of it. But I mean, this thing is just like, it's a great knife. It makes sense why it has been like a staple in the community for so long. And you know, second hand has always been really expensive for these. Ever since they discontinued back in like sometime in the 2010s. But yeah, if you can try a real one versus the clone, I would obviously vouch for you to get the real one if you have the money, of course. Regardless, Tach 2, very cool. My main reason for buying this knife was Steven. He has a video on his page, and I can put it on screen, of him flipping the Tach 2. I think the one he has in the video is like a DLC version, but it's just like the rawest like clip I've ever seen in flipping in general. But like, he just makes this knife look so good. And yeah, he was one of the biggest inspirations behind buying this knife, and really like for developing my style and like picking out my tricks. He was the person I went to. It was like, he was one of the first people that made me like, well, this guy's got like such an insane style. And another person that definitely like pushed me to get the Tachyon was Andre. He's been in the community for so long, and he's had a lot of videos with this. I think this was like the only knife he had for like a while, and so a lot of his older videos are with the Tach 2, and it just has like a fun look to it. I mean, Andre just has a very fun vibe to his videos anyways, and so it was a good feature for this knife. And so yeah, glad to have it, especially it being a real one. I have the box over there with the authentication and everything. But yeah, this is a good knife. Alrighty, next we have the Squid Industries Tsunami. This is production 5, number 171. The handles and the blade have been Zerblasted. I don't know, I didn't do that. The guy I bought it off of had it that way before I had bought it and before he had bought it. But I mean, like, this thing is the best Nami I've ever flipped. Like, it's light, it's agile, does anything, does anything you throw at it. Has such a like fun and like almost quick style to it, but like it doesn't, there's no like adjustment period to it. It's just right out of the box, it just hits you with like superior flipping. I don't have any weight pins in it just because I tried it and I didn't like the feel of it, and yeah, since then I haven't put any in. I like it like this. No weight pins. It has this like I said, it has such a nice feel to it. This one specifically though, I don't know what it is with my Nami that just makes it a lot better, but I've tried Kevin Mystic Flips, I've tried his Nami. Same thing with Vermilion James, I've tried his Nami, and they were good, like, objectively, but like I've just preferred the way that this thing carries itself over those two by far. And fun fact, those two Namis of Kevin and James's, they're actually like same production and like one number apart from each other. They're Nami neighbors. Yeah, that was just a little fun fact. As far as this knife though, this thing is like, if I'm practicing a combo or something, I mean, like, I don't know, this thing just flips so good. Sometimes I have to put it down though, because like I'll be flipping it so much, and then I tend to get in a fit with this Balisong that's like, if I flip it for too long, then it'll be the only thing I flip for like 3 months, and I won't go to anything else, just because this is what it has, that like hook to it, that addiction almost. This is really Squid Industries' best product in my opinion. That could arguably go to the Kraken, but by personal preference, I just prefer the Nami a lot better. I never ended up liking the Kraken. I've had like 5 in the time that I've been in the hobby, and yeah, they just never hit me like this one does. And to have one in my collection after seeing like so many videos from Seiji and Joff flipping this knife and making it look really fun, especially Seiji. He has a lot of videos like when he was still in university of just this knife, and he made it look so cool. Such a, like, really encapsulated that vibe of like it being fast and fun. So yeah, that's why ultimately I ended up deciding to buy my own, and I don't regret it at all. This is one of my best knives. Next in the collection we have the WB Concept Gigas. This is a V2, number 51. Oh, wrong side. Number 51. And this thing just flips very good. It feels like a premium AB. Most people that have owned it would say something similar. That it just has a very weighty, but like it carries momentum very well. You don't really have to do anything to get it to do the tricks that you want it to do, and it just holds it very well. Especially like chaplains. Something about chaplains, just like it hugs your finger, doesn't feel uncomfortable, and yeah, it has such a nice and unique flow to it. Could be because of the spacers on it. Like, these things are, it's pretty big, I'd say. And it feels like they're not like too heavy, but it's enough to carry the Balisong flow and give it its own like unique character. It also doesn't feel heavy when you do like ricochets and stuff. Yeah, this thing it's pretty sick. I've seen people take out the stock spacers and put in like barrel spacers from the Kuski or whatever. And I feel like that takes away from the experience of it. And Guy himself has said that like once you do that, it's not how he intended. And I think he did a great job with the execution. I think this is the only knife in my collection now that's machined by JK, and in my opinion it's the best. Like, the tang pins feel nice and comfortable. Yeah, I really don't have any complaints about this. Fans feel awesome on it. I wish I could, yeah, there we go. My biggest inspiration for buying this knife was Seiji has a video with like the GoPro, and he's flipping the Gigas over like asphalt, and it looks like it's like kind of rained. Wait, yeah, I did say that. He's like flipping it over asphalt and like it rained, and that video just has such a raw vibe to it. He makes this thing look like so nice and flowy, and really, like, I don't know, the way it highlights the movement of the knife just kind of struck me, and I've wanted one ever since. Yeah, so glad to own one. If you ever get a chance to try it out, please do. It's a fun one. Next in the collection, we have the EPS Wraith. This is the V1. This is from the first run of Wraiths that were ever dropped. that drop, it was maybe like 300 or 400 units, but it sold out like instantly because this knife was like pretty hyped for a while. It was very like sought after even before it was produced because of the anticipation that people had of it, and the comparison to the rep really, because like build wise it's the same, but I mean in comparison to the rep, this thing just kind of, in my opinion, it weighs it out like by a lot. This thing flips superb. It has a very like weird feel at first because the blade is like, it's very present. Like you definitely know that the blade is there when you're flipping. It has such a nice feel because of that. And yeah, once you get used to it, this thing looks good on camera, it looks good while you're flipping. It just has a nice overall feel. The G10 is nice and soft and round. It doesn't feel uncomfortable anywhere. The only place of like uncomfortability that I can think of is on the choil. If I can show it off. Dude, this thing, like, it's sharp. Well, not anymore, but like it definitely feels like sharp. And anytime you do like a bite handle scissor, it feels a little bit uncomfortable. But beyond that, I mean, this thing is awesome. Joff was definitely one of the biggest ones that put this knife on the map. And really just like the legacy that this knife had even before it dropped. Like I mentioned earlier, this is pretty well sought after. Went for crazy high on the aftermarket just because of how hard they were to get. And yeah, Matt Bat especially, with that video that he has, I think it's still on his page, with NWA's Express Yourself. And yeah, that video, that was like the video I would watch all the time when I was like, when I didn't have a Wraith and I was jonesing for one like so bad. And then I finally bought one. It was a little bit before my birthday in like 2023. And yeah, I found one on the market somehow. As soon as I found it, I hit the guy up and I bought it right then and there. And that's actually not this one that I'm flipping currently. It was a Ghost Black G10 Wraith, and then the liners were blackened. And that was my first Wraith, and it flipped very good. And then I saw this one for sale by Young Master Dan. He's a homie. And I saw him have it up for sale, and I thought it'd be cool to have a second Wraith, so I bought it. And yeah, so this is the one I currently have. But it's funny because when I bought it, and like I had posted on my story that I had bought this Wraith from Dan, and James Remillion hits me up. He's like, yo, did you buy that from Dan? I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, that was my Wraith. And you know, at the time we were working on a collab together for the EPS Wraith, and he just never came up with a clip, and I guess he just sold it, so that collab never ended up happening. But yeah, now I have James's Wraith. It's the best flipping Wraith that I've had. Oh, I didn't even mention the third Wraith that I had. I had a third one that it was like dyed black scales, so it wasn't the same shade or look of these G10 scales. It had a different look to it. The liners were blackened, and then the blade was acid washed, so it had like a nice like grayscale, almost murdered outlook to it. But as far as flipping, it was not very good. This thing was the best out of all of them because it's been broken in, so this is the one I ended up keeping. And yeah, I don't regret it at all. This thing, like I said, very unique piece for how sought after it was and how much they sold on the aftermarket. I'm surprised that I even have this in the first place. Yeah, this thing's great. Alrighty, next in line we have the BearOps B200. This is the live blade version, and I think this blade specifically is called like the B200B or something like that, B4B. Yeah, so originally the the blade has like a blackened titanium coating or something on it, but I didn't like the look of it in all black, so found a way to get the coating off. You use like gasket remover and just spray it on top of the blade. The coating peels off, and yeah, since then I haven't looked back. It has this like nice acid wash and stone wash look to it after, and that's how I ended up keeping it. Jeez, the tip is still intact on it, but this knife was definitely like, if you started flipping in like 2018 or 2016 and 2018, it was pretty common to see this knife as like people's first knife, that or the trainer version. But yeah, I mean, this thing holds up still to this day. In my opinion, most people would say that like by today's standards and all the other knives that are around, this thing is pretty pretty mediocre, but like I like it for the character and the history that it has behind it. Ryloth was one of the first people I saw that was like flipping this knife and like doing some crazy shit on it, really. Who else has flipped this? I know MatBat has his his B200 like this with the same blade look, and he just makes it look pretty cool. Yeah, this, and I know Graham has one as well, although that's the orange one, and that's the trainer. But regardless, I mean, this thing has been in the community for a while, kind of more of a low-key piece, as far as like, it's not too sought after, but I mean, like, for those who know, they know, like, they know, right? This thing is pretty cool, very blocky. The handles are all G10. The handles are kind of thick, but it doesn't bother you too much. Yeah, it's a great knife. As for how I got it, I only got it recently, like within the past couple months, but I had been looking for this knife for a while, and really any condition, any blade shape, just because I needed to have it in my collection. And then when I finally found one, I bought it instantly. But I'll explain that story in another video, because that's a whole different, that could cover another like 20-30 minute video. But regardless, I have this, and yeah, pretty happy with it. It was also kind of a rare pull too, because most of the B200s you see have the thicker tang pins that make this, like, the handle gap a lot bigger, like that. This one came with all the smaller ones, and that's actually how I prefer it. So yeah, I really got a lucky pull with this one. I forgot to mention this earlier, but the B200 was actually designed by Blade Runner Systems before it was even a company, way back in 2014. They did a collaboration with BearOps to design the B200, and you can kind of see that on all their different blades, and even kind of this one. But their other blade versions that they have is definitely more of an a precursor to the AB Skimtar blade, where it has like that kind of look to it, but even still you can see their design language still carried on. Yeah, so interesting piece of history there. Alright, next up we have the Hinderer Nieves. This is a V2. I feel like this knife has a little bit more of a reputation around the YouTube side of Balisong rather than the Instagram side. Like Phoenix Fire, I know for sure. Balizone 999, definitely seen this on his page. When it came, this was one of the knives where, like, during the era where there weren't like a lot of like production Balisong companies besides BRS, that were like dedicated to flipping, and Balisongs were just kind of like, if they were made, they weren't made with the purpose of flipping. But this one just kind of happened to flip good, and yeah, people liked it. And a common complaint, which I agree with on this knife, is these damn horns, man. Like, they will pinch the shit out of you if you're not prepared. It's brutal. Like, I don't know why they put the horns there and made it this way, but regardless, it's an interesting character. Like I said, a lot of Balisong YouTubers had this knife back in the day, but Ryloth especially was the one that like made me be like, oh, what knife is that? And that's when I did the research on it, found all those YouTube videos, and I ended up buying one. And yeah, so here we are today. This is actually, I bought it from James Vermillion. You're gonna hear that name a lot. It has a very unique feel. The honestly, fanning on it feels like really nice for some reason. It just has a nice feel to it. Maybe it's just the weight and the blockiness of it, but it feels very like tactile almost, and it carries fans very well. Yeah, I don't have any complaints with it other than the very big one with the horns, but I mean that's really it. This knife is pretty unique. Once again, very big piece of history in the community, and so yeah, to have it in my collection is a pretty cool thing. We have a pretty fun one up here next. This is the DogBite DB3.1, and this thing's pretty small. It's a cool little knife. It's very fun. Something about the size of it just like adds to the character of it, and this thing it has such a it's very fun to flip. If the look wasn't enough to sell you, this thing has a very fun feel to it. If you ever have the chance to flip this like at Blade Show, please do, because it's very unique and different as a flipper in comparison to other knives. I just recently got this back from modding. I had a green anodization on it at first, but I stripped it and got this bead blasting on it instead, and I like the look of it better. Wanted to keep everything in the collection pretty monochrome anyways, so yeah, this thing flips good. I did have to take out the top weights on these because it has like 2 different weight pins, and these are pretty heavy. I didn't like how it felt with the 2 weight pins, but with the 1 it feels a lot better. And yeah, might as well just do a size comparison. I'd say the AB is a pretty standard sized Balisong, and yeah, it's pretty big difference. Also, you can see on the AB, this thing is rounded. Like the tip, there's no tip on it anymore. Like this, it has a tip. This does not. It's literally an edge, or it's not even an edge. It's a semicircle. It's a very fun piece. They're kind of hard to find nowadays because it's more just people that like have been in the hobby for a little bit, were around for the production of it, and you don't see them on the market very often. But if you do, I'd say try it out. Go ahead and buy one and try it out, because it's a unique piece to have in anyone's collection really, especially just because of the uniqueness of it. Yeah, it's a good knife. I don't think it struggles with any trick in particular. It has a weird feeling at first, but like once you get used to it, it has a nice flow. The Knife Maestro on Instagram, Ashutosh, he has a clip with this, or with a DogBite, and somehow he does like a quad scissor on it. I don't know how he did it. Ryloth was also like one of the biggest inspirations for buying this knife. Yeah, I don't know. He's definitely got like an old, like a community staple as far as like trick innovation, and I think these knives are a good reflection of that and of the time that he comes from. So yeah, this is true. It's honestly like a timepiece, like any of these other ones. And speaking of timepieces, let's just get into it with some of the more high-end and expensive, like older pieces in this collection. And the first one that I have here is a DDR Gemini. This is the clip point version, and this is number 32. I don't know how many were made, but this thing is spectacular. It has such a history. dates back to like, what, 2001, I believe. The design is very similar to the Archangel, and that's because the creator of this, Ralph, I believe he sold the design of the Archangel to Cold Steel to make the production version of the Archangel, and then the customs came after that, and that's how we have the Gemini. It's very soft, all the edges are very rounded, and it feels so nice on the hands. You can tell a lot of attention to detail was put into the design, the machining, everything, even the polishing. Like, it has a nice, like, premium sort of look to it. Same thing with the flipping. It's like, it's fast, but not overtakingly fast. Holds everything very well. Yeah, it's a very like premium experience. Yeah, DDR was definitely one of the first people to come up with like a design that stuck and kind of set the foundation for future Balisongs. And yeah, this thing is pretty well sought after, I'd say. To find it in 2025 in this condition is kind of crazy, man. Like, I've heard complaints about the bushings getting all weird and the tolerances getting weird after a bunch of time with the knife, but to my experience, I have no issues with it. Yeah, this thing is awesome. Hard to find nowadays. I know Jelly has a version. Well, it's Dan's now, but it's a green anodized crisp blade version of the Gemini, and that one looks really fun. The tang pins on this are pretty long in comparison to other tang pins, but it feels nice. Everything is super comfortable on it. Yeah, this thing is pretty sick. Pretty sure a lot of you will be able to recognize that handle pattern. This is a Benchmade 43. This is one of the first Balisongs really ever, but one of the most like fundamental and classics in this community, really. Some of the goats, or really like all of the original flippers, like whether on YouTube, on Instagram, Reddit, Jersey Devil even, this was the knife that they flipped because it was the only quality knife that you could get for a while. My first exposure to this knife was Curtis Knife Stuff on Kuma Films' channel. They have that video with him, and they're in like an abandoned, I don't know, abandoned someplace, and he's flipping the 43. That was my first exposure to Balisongs, and yeah, this thing has just lived its legacy since. It's held up well with the times as far as just, it's a classic. Like, it truly is a classic, whether you're into the flipping aspect of the Balisong or just, you know, Balisongs, this is probably the first one that you're going to think of just because of how classic it is. Again, first quality Balisong really ever, and this is what a lot of people base their production on, their designing on, and yeah, this is a crazy product to own. Still can't believe it, honestly. I bought this back in 2024, and off of Mo Balisong. And if you're looking for any like vintage knives or knives with a lot of history, Mo's your man. Like, he's had every single one of the 4X's before, and he's great. He's super flexible with payment and very open with communication. He's a great guy. And then yeah, so if you're ever looking for anything like high-end like this and it's kind of older, he's your man. But yeah, the 43 and just the 4X line in general has a lot of history behind it. A lot of tricks were made using these Balisongs. A lot of the best flippers, and really the development of a lot of people's tricks and styles were made on this knife, and to this day are still being improved on and developed. So this was the originator, and it's so cool to own one nowadays. I prefer the 43 look as compared to the 42. I just like the Bowie look instead. The way that the Weehawk blade looks is just doesn't look very nice in my opinion, so I ended up going with a 43. I feel like this was just as classic as the 42, and it definitely suited my tastes better. So yeah, this thing, as far as flipping, it's alright. It doesn't flip anything like crazy. It's a 4X. It's on washers, I believe, and everything is press fit. The hardware is press fit, so if you're ever trying to get these pivots out so you can take out your latch and whatever, good luck with that. You need like a punch set and whatever, and like a mallet to get it out. But yeah, this knife is pretty sick. Can't believe I own one. This is a real one, by the way. All of these are real. I don't do any clones. Everything's authentic. So yeah. Alright, the last knife I have in my collection here is one of the rarest knives really ever, in my opinion, is the double-edged Archangel by Cold Steel. It's still crazy to me that I even have this knife at all. I thought it would be impossible to find, especially just, you know, for how long it's been discontinued, how short of a run that they had, and how little were made during that run. So the fact that I even have one is just so insane to me. This knife really set the standard for, like, first of all, put people onto the map of, like, double-edged flipping, because before that there weren't really any good double-edged knives, or any that could flip at all, and this one was, like, it to this day I'd say it's the gold standard of double-edged balisongs. For that reason, and the iconic look of it, they are very sought after. If you ever see it on the marketplace, just expect it to be gone, like, instantly, and for a high price. But yeah, this thing has a lot of history to it. Knife Stuff has a lot of videos on his channel with the double-edged Archangel, but where I first got the exposure to it was Kuma Film's video with Assflow, Assassin Flan, on Instagram. And he, like, the last clip in that video, he's on the pier and he's flipping a double-edged Archangel. And it's just crazy, man. I didn't think that, first of all, double-edged balisongs were a thing at all, but that it could be flipped in such a cool way. Like, there's just something about it. Like, you can't do chaplains or certain ricochets or whatever, so you have to keep this thing moving. And because of that, it has just such a cool look. It really, like, floats like a butterfly while it flips. And yeah, so I wanted one for a long time. The double-edged Archangel, very influential to a lot of people's styles, and yeah, to this day it's very sought after as the best double-edged balisong, for good reason. And yeah, honored to have this piece. Crazy that I have it in the first place, and that could be said about any of these knives here. But yeah, that's everything in my collection. I wanted to highlight it and bring light to a lot of the people in the community that don't know too much about some of these knives right here. That's what the whole purpose of this video is to kind of highlight the history of this. And if there's anything I missed, I haven't been in this hobby for too long, but if there's anything I missed or got wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to learn more. And I feel like a lot of our history in the balisong community just has gone undocumented. And I'd like to use this comment section and really just this channel to bring light to that, and just highlight a lot of the parts of the community that a lot of people don't see. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, enlighten me on anything I missed, anything I got wrong, please let me know. But I hope you enjoyed my collection. For those that are going to Blade Show, I hope you get to enjoy it in person as well. Yeah, but I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, peace.